He is Tim Cook. He exported the smartphone revolution from the US to the world and turned Apple into one of the most powerful and profitable companies on earth. Making it achieve a multi-trillion-dollar worthiness was one of his ultimate dreams, and yes, Apple products are a great symbol of status and everyone dreams of owning at least one. But he's leaving Apple. So what is next for Apple? "15 years after Steve Jobs, Tim Cook is leaving a dramatically different Apple. At age 65, he is stepping down as Apple's top executive. He is leaving behind a hardware juggernaut that, under his leadership, brought about a global smartphone revolution and transformed Apple into one of the most profitable publicly traded companies in history, worth over $4 trillion. Cook first joined Apple in 1998. He oversaw its worldwide sales and operations with a reputation for logistical management. In 2009, he temporarily began running day-to-day operations when the company's legendary co-founder, Steve Jobs, took medical leave due to complications from pancreatic cancer. And in 2011, just a few months before Jobs' death, Cook took over as CEO. And he has done the best job any CEO can ever do, bringing Apple to the level it's on now. Filling Cook's shoes could be a tremendous task, but despite a more subdued demeanor, especially on stage, Cook made this challenge of deciding on who could replace him when he's out of office. And just like how Steve Jobs was never going to be an easy act to follow, and Tim Cook took over the legendary Jobs' job and transformed Apple into a durable, resilient financial powerhouse with explosive market cap growth. We believe, yes, there's going to be a 1 in thousands that will replace Cook. In Apple's announcement on Monday, Cook said he loved the company with all his being and that leading it was the greatest privilege of his life. And in a goodbye note, especially to Apple's fans, Cook thanked them, saying he felt gratitude that he cannot put in words. Cook will stay on as the executive chair of Apple's board of directors, while John Ternus, aged 50 and apparently the company's senior vice president of hardware engineering, will replace Cook as CEO because he has the capability and the necessary credentials. Tim Cook has made the already successful tech hardware giant nearly untouchable by its competitors. He carried Jobs' enthusiasm of well-designed, high-end consumer tech products, and he also oversaw the explosion growth of special gadgets. I'm talking of an iPhone, iPad, and Mac computer lines, as well as the introduction of amazing wearables, the Apple Watch, the AirPods headphones. Under Cook, Apple company also went into services while he was in charge, including Apple Pay, Apple TV, and Apple Music, weaving together a network of devices with their proprietary operating system softwares, including macOS and iOS. After a lot of initial questions about an operations guy becoming CEO, Tim Cook unquestionably brought Apple into a new era that was driven by his vision to build a connected ecosystem of billions of devices. Cook didn't need to know exactly what products were required, but he did understand the interconnectedness of it all, and that ultimately is what brought Apple to where it is today. He managed to drive Apple into becoming the first publicly traded company to reach a valuation of $1 trillion, ballooning from $350 billion in 2011 to $4 trillion today. He's just an amazing human with amazing managerial skills. Before, the world could ask one question: who could measure up to Steve Jobs? But the ultimate truth is, the Apple company that Cook took over in 2011 was a different company from the behemoth the world is familiar with today. Remember, in the years before Jobs' death, The two men and other executives worked together to pull a financially struggling company back to its feet after Apple nearly faced bankruptcy in the late 1990s. This was just because always Jobs was the face of their invention, which brought flashy live product announcements where hordes of Apple enthusiasts would jam into convention centers to see the unveiling of the company's new electronics. And Jobs would pace back and forth on the stage, of course in his signature black turtleneck tucked into blue jeans, while suspensefully extolling the wonders of Apple's products, and the entire world would be super amazed. Remember when Apple's hype hit a frenzy in 2007? When Jobs introduced the first iPhone, saying, "Every once in a while, a revolutionary product comes along that challenges everything," and he called it a breakthrough internet connections device. It was an enormous and exquisite moment for the crowd that hoped and hollered. And so, by the time Cook took the helm, the iPhone had taken off in popularity along with many other Apple devices. And remember too that Jobs had introduced the iPod the year before. But though Cook became the host of the live product announcements, which have continued to be a mainstay of Apple's branding and showcasing, he absolutely didn't exude the same visionary charisma as Jobs. And while the world saw us, Cook would have to contend with comparisons to the late co-founder and his glamorous keynotes for his entire time as CEO. Throughout Cook's tenure, he also oversaw some missteps. Apple has been slow to invest in generative artificial intelligence and integrate the technology into its products, something shareholders have been clamoring for. And not forgetting hardware misses, including the lackluster 3500 Vision Pro mixed reality headset, a post-delayed folding smartphone that could have a cleansed problem, and a scuttled self-driving car project that cost the company some $10 billion but still failed to come into reality. For the most part, however, Cook, as the best guy at Apple, has continued to do what he started under Jobs, methodically building up the company's market share and profitability and working to safeguard it from volatility. In that sense, he has overseen Apple grow from a disruptive and innovative Silicon Valley startup to a financially secure heavyweight that habitually delivers what an ever-growing number of consumers worldwide expect. And while he has kept Apple's growth trajectory moving at a steady clip, he has not overseen a step-change innovation that will reset Apple's competitive position for the next 2 decades, as Jobs did for the iPhone. Cook's legacy will be defined by steady, disciplined operation stewardship, proof that a company can be more than just exciting and visionary. It can also be immensely valuable to all its stakeholders. And not forgetting that the world will miss him, especially in unveiling new devices and applications. He was an icon for the Apple company and its entire fans across the globe. And now we all wonder what next for Apple and what will be next for John Ternus as the new CEO.